All right, buckle up because this isn't one of those feel-good stories where everyone holds hands at the end. Nope. This is the kind of tale that starts with a gut punch, keeps you guessing, and only lets you breathe when you realize sometimes karma shows up in a high-vis vest and a tow truck. You ever wake up and feel the universe's sense of humor slapping you across the face? That was me. Tuesday morning, eyelids barely open, and I'm blasted awake by the sound of air brakes, the kind that echo through your bones, make your dog bark, and send a shiver up your spine like, well, something's about to go sideways. At that moment, I didn't know that by lunchtime my house would basically be a private island. No way in, no way out unless I sprouted wings or started tunneling like a gopher. Let me back up. My wife and we bought this house 3 years ago. Suburbia, sure, but our place has this quirk. It's a flag lot, which is just a fancy way of saying our house sits way back off the street with this narrow 200-foot-long driveway snaking out to the main road. Just enough room for 2 cars to pass if both drivers are in a good mood and no one's had too much coffee. When we moved in, the real estate agent gave us the rundown. More privacy, yeah, but also a catch. We had to join the neighborhood HOA because our driveway cut through their common area. At the time, the HOA seemed harmless, reasonable dues, nothing crazy in the rule book. Most folks kept to themselves just the way I like it. I work from home. Consultant life. So while everyone else is off at their office jobs, I'm around to see what actually goes down in this little kingdom of bylaws and landscaping wars. Turns out that was both a blessing and a curse. About 6 months ago, the board gets this big idea. They want a community pool. For the kids, they say. For property values, they say. Whatever. Problem is, they're going to fund it by slapping everyone with a special assessment that's HOA. Speak for, here's a bill for thousands of dollars, pay up or else. $3,200 per household, just like that. Now here's where things get spicy. When we bought the place, our lawyer combed through the deed with a magnifying glass. Found a clause that said our property didn't have access to the common areas where all these amenities were going, no pool, no tennis, no playground. Couldn't use them even if we wanted to. And that, my friend, meant those special assessments didn't apply to us. The law in black and white. So when the notice landed in my mailbox, I did what any rational adult does. I sent a polite no thank you with a copy of the deed language attached. Thought that would be the end of it. Oh, how naive I was. That's when the HOA president came out swinging. At first it was all sugar and let's work together. Then it turned into, you're a bad neighbor, you're violating community standards. Eventually the threats rolled in, liens, lawsuits, the whole 9 yards. I tried to talk sense, even offered to meet with the board, show them the actual documents. But the president, she took my refusal like it was a personal insult. One phone call, she flat out told me, we're tired of owners who think they're special. One way or another, you're going to pay what you owe. I told her, lady, I don't owe a dime. Not for your pool, not for your playground. Didn't matter. Logic bounced off her like rain on a tarp. So here we are Tuesday morning. I'm sipping my coffee working on a report when the whole house starts rumbling like a minor earthquake. Step outside, wander down the driveway, and boom, my jaw just about hits the pavement. Some genius has parked a full-sized 53-foot semi-trailer right across my driveway's mouth. No cab attached, just the trailer like it was airdropped in by a cranky god with a grudge. This wasn't some mistake. Nobody accidentally parks a freight trailer blocking one specific driveway in a quiet suburb. Nope, this was a message. A challenge. I circle the thing looking for a phone number or company logo, nothing. Just a little magnetic sign with local transport services but no real info. Then I hear footsteps behind me, tap, tap, tap on the asphalt. I turn, and there's the HOA president herself, clipboard in hand, wearing that smile people save for funerals and IRS audits. Morning, she says, syrupy sweet. Looks like you got yourself a situation. I ask her straight. You know anything about this? She flips through her clipboard, pretending to read. Oh, emergency asphalt inspection, apparently. The truck's just stalled for now. Safety protocol. You ever talk to someone who's lying, but they're so committed you almost respect the hustle? That was her. I push back. This is a detached trailer. No crew, no equipment. Where's your work order? Your permit? She huffs. Says she doesn't need to show me anything and get this liens on the trailer like she owns it. We are the law here. You'll pay or you'll be stuck until you do. Maybe start ordering your groceries by drone. That's when it clicked. She was trying to lock me down, make me feel helpless, force me to cough up $3,000 just to live my life. And she was so sure I'd fold. Here's what she didn't know: I've spent years as a consultant juggling impossible clients and stubborn execs. If you want to play hardball, you'd better bring a helmet. I told her I get your position. She looked almost disappointed that I didn't throw a fit. I turned around and walked back to the house, already thinking 3 moves ahead. My wife, she's a practical woman, told me to call the cops. But see, the president was smart. The trailer was technically on HOA common property. The police might call it a civil dispute. But I had another idea: fire safety. Emergency vehicles couldn't get within a football field of our place with that hunk of metal in the way. That's a violation everywhere. I called the fire marshal, laid it out: full-size commercial vehicle, no access for ambulances or fire trucks. They said they'd send someone out right away. While I waited, I did a little digging on that transport company. Turns out the owner shares a last name with our dear president. Classic. Family business. They weren't just bending the rules, they'd tied them in a knot and thrown them in the river. The fire marshal arrived, a woman who looked like she'd seen her share of nonsense. She took one look, started snapping photos, jotting notes. "This is a life safety violation," she said flatly. "No emergency access, no excuses." I showed her the business registration on my phone. She got real serious real quick. She issued a written order: remove the trailer within 4 hours, or we'll tow it at the owner's expense. And let me tell you, moving a 53-foot trailer ain't cheap. We're talking thousands, 4, maybe $5,000 just to haul it off and park it in some impound lot. I sent the violation notice to the HOA board and the president's personal email just for good measure. I kept it short. Fire marshal gave you until 3 p.m. to move it. After that, recovery costs are on you. An hour later, my phone rings. The president's lost her edge. She calls it harassment. I remind her the fire marshal says it's a safety violation. Remove it or pay up. She tries to negotiate. "Maybe we can talk about your account." I say my account's paid. The only issue here is the special assessment, and the deed says I don't owe it. She gets snippy, warns me this isn't over. I tell her she's got 3 hours, then hang up. While I wait, I research heavy-duty towing. $4,000 minimum, plus mileage, plus storage. And because this was an emergency removal, whoever owns the trailer can be held personally liable, not covered by the HOA's insurance, not reimbursed from the board's petty cash. This was coming straight out of her or her family's pocket. At 2:45, I check trailers still there untouched. At 3 o'clock, I call the fire marshal, report the non-compliance. At 4 o'clock, I hear the low growl of a heavy-duty tow truck. The crew gets to work, methodical, precise. By 6, my driveway's clear, the incident report in my hand, and a $420 bill on its way to the registered owner. But I wasn't done. The president had crossed the line from annoying to illegal. I contacted a lawyer who specializes in HOA disputes. He nearly laughed when I explained what happened. They used personal resources to block access and tried to force you to pay an invalid assessment. That's textbook tortious interference, maybe even criminal obstruction. We sent demand letters, one to the HOA, one to the president, one to the trucking company. Itemized costs, towing, legal fees, lost work. Over $6,000 in damages. 3 days later, the HOA's lawyer calls me. "Let's resolve this. My clients admit the trailer was a mistake. What would it take to settle?" My answer: pay the full cost, put in writing that the special assessment doesn't apply to me, and commit no more harassment ever. Their lawyer tried to lowball, but the law was on my side. Turns out most HOA insurance won't cover criminal acts or board members going rogue with family assets. The president would be personally liable for every penny. That's when things really unraveled. Turns out the special assessment for the pool hadn't even been voted on properly. The board tried to sneak it through without following the rules. When the rest of the neighborhood found out, along with the president's stunt, the roof caved in. Emergency audit. Turns out money was missing. Fake invoices. Embezzlement. The president had been lining her pockets and thought no one would notice. She was ousted, prosecuted, forced to sell her house to pay restitution. The new board dropped the assessment and put in checks to prevent abuse. My wife and I got our legal costs covered, the driveway clear, and the satisfaction of seeing justice done. After the dust settled, I sent a thank you card to the former president, along with a photo of my open driveway and a copy of the paid towing receipt. Petty maybe. But sometimes you've got to make the lesson stick. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. Bullies always think they're invincible until their own arrogance trips them up. You don't have to outshout or out-threaten them. Just let them keep pushing, document everything, and when the time comes, let the law do what it's designed to do. Now, every time I pull into my driveway, I remember what it felt like to be trapped and how good it feels to stand your ground. The best part. The whole neighborhood learned the lesson too. There's a new plaque at the entrance with the rules, a monument to transparency, and a quiet understanding. Abuse power here, and you'll answer for it. And hey, let's open the floor. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Do you think standing your ground is always worth it, or are there times when it's smarter to just pay and move on? Drop your thoughts below or share your own HOA horror stories. I read everyone because sometimes the best way to keep power in check is by shining a little light where folks don't want it.